you live and in living color from the BW Moving Images studio. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
All right, we're back on BCS Experience and Food Rap. Oh my goodness, I just love that show. You get some tasty morsels on that show. It's coming up to you this evening from 9 until 10 o'clock. So don't leave the GoPro Radio Network. You need to stay right here. Anyway, we're back on the BCS Experience. I got a little piece of history for you before we get back to Gerard. Let's talk about and connect some of those dots. The history, the date. It's July the 21st, and it's 1858. Alonzo Herndon was born on this date in 1858. He was an African American businessman, born in Walton, Georgia, on a farm near Social Circle to Sophie Herndon, a slave. His father was Frank Herndon, a white farmer to who owned his mother. The young Herndon was one of 25 slaves owned by his father who never acknowledged paternity. He also had a younger brother, Thomas, as well as a number of half brothers and half sisters born to other slave women on his father's farm. Herndon was a quick study academically. With 1 year of formal education, he learned barbering in Jonesboro, Georgia, where in 1878 he opened his first barber shop. Arriving in Atlanta in 1882, he worked his way to the top of the city's barbering trade, owning and operating three barbershops. The Crystal Palace on Peachtree Street in downtown Atlanta was considered one of the finest barbershops in Atlanta. In 1893, he married a young woman from Atlanta's old black elite, Adrienne Elizabeth McNeil. She was a graduate and a faculty member of Atlanta University, teaching elocution and drama. He invested his barbering income in real estate, becoming by the early 1900s the largest black property owner in Atlanta. Adrienne Herndon designed the Herndon home in Atlanta. She died from Addison's disease 3 months after the house was completed. 2 years later, Herndon married Jessie Gillespie. His most significant business venture was launched in 1905 when he acquired what would become Atlanta Life Insurance Company, today the largest black-owned stockholder insurance company in America. Within months of its organization, Atlanta Mutual had several offices throughout Georgia, and by 1916 the association was reorganized as a stock company capitalized at $25,000. In 1922, the company's capitalization increased to $100,000, with President Herndon purchasing the entire new issue of stock. As a legal reserve company offering all classes of life insurance, the organization became known as Atlanta Life Insurance Company. Herndon treated his employees well and became a generous supporter of a number of Atlanta charitable organizations. He gave large sums to a local orphanage and kindergarten for black children and to the city's leading black church, First Congregational. He was also involved in the Southview Cemetery Association, Atlanta Loan and Trust, and the Atlanta State Savings Bank, and was a key investor in Gate City Drug Company, the first black-owned drugstore on Auburn Avenue. In his leisure time, he relaxed at an Orange Grove estate he had acquired in Lake County, Florida, which he improved and sold some years later at an impressive profit. As one of the South's leading black business leaders, Herndon was friendly with Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois. He was a delegate to the first conference of the National Negro Business League in 1890 and was involved in the 1905 Niagara movement. His son was more reluctant to follow in his footsteps, however, for Norris Herndon had inherited Adrian's passion for the stage. Norris eventually settled down and earned an MBA from Harvard in 1921. Alonzo Herndon died on his birthday in 1927 at the age of 69. Hey, I want to hear from you. Let's connect the dots and make sense out of it all. Let's call and let's talk. 347-884-9839. So, we're back to Gerard from the Neighborhood Housing Services of New York City. So you see, Gerard, connecting the dots of our history, it really makes your organization even more impressive as to what you and the services you provide.
I think the information that you gave about Mr. Herndon is very indicative of my personal interest
Yes, sir.
in business development and entrepreneurship because, as you detailed, he started from the ground up. He started with the
That's right.
community supported business. He started with barbering.
Yes, sir.
He received some formal training, but then went it alone.
Right.
And he was able to capitalize on the resources of the community around him to grow his business and then to help improve the community that he did come from.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times in our community we forget how much, or we've never realized how much power we have.
Yes.
I read a recent report that the African American dollar,
right,
our buying power, amounts to as much as $13 billion a year if we were to pool our resources and keep our money circulating within the community.
Right, right.
Think just about black hair care market, the products industry, just the products, not the services, just the things that you buy at the beauty supply store,
right,
are upwards of $1 billion worth of trade every year.
And as we say in the hair care market, and that's I can make humor of that. That's unbelievable. Okay.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But we have so much talent within our communities.
Yes, we do.
So much talent that goes wasted or unrecognized.
Right.
And if we were in some way able to encourage those people with ideas, with skills, with trades, and be able to provide them with the resources and with the access to grow their brand, and then keep that money circulating within the community, we could be a lot better off.
Exactly.
And it's in that regard that I look at a business development incubator that we're proposing here at NHS Side. We're doing a young entrepreneurs working group.
Right.
And we're asking anyone who is willing to be a part of this working group to share best practices, to share resources. We're focusing specifically on entrepreneurs who are 40 years old and under, but looking for support and participation from any and every business owner or prospective business owner. Because I go to a lot of business development seminars and networking events, and the people that I see are almost all 45, 50 and older.
Right.
And when you think about the vitality of our youth, things that they can do, but the idea of turning that into a sustainable business either has never occurred to them or they've been just discouraged by their by their surroundings or their circumstances. And so we're really trying to get it together and trying to make it so that, especially in central and eastern Brooklyn, our young people can participate in the same kinds of growth that you've seen with their peer group in places like Williamsburg and Dumbo here in New York.
You know what I find interesting, Gerard, is that a lot of our areas where you're centrally located are the diaspora from the Caribbean, which and being people from the earth, the good green earth, we tend to have a better understanding of green technology than most. And I'm interested to find out from your perspective and what your organization has discovered, what is one of the or what are some of the more lucrative businesses that you are discovering that people from your community area want to engage in?
One of the hottest things right now, and it's not just directly around here, but it's everywhere, is in green building.
Yes.
Um, when we're talking about skilled trades, construction, electricians, plumbers, those are highly lucrative skilled trades that a lot of people may be interested in getting into. But this green industry, this whole eco-friendly push has provided a lot of incentive for organizations and companies to give trainings. So I know of one organization that's working out of Williamsburg that's called the St. Nick's Alliance
Mm-hmm.
that has a free green jobs training where they will teach you methods of eco-friendly construction, and you can get certified in that, and then they will help place you in jobs doing that green building. Another thing that's big, not necessarily as an end goal job, but is food security. It's a big issue in our communities, being that a lot of our residents live in what are called food deserts,
Yes.
where the nearest fresh green grocer is more than a mile away. And the growth of community gardens, the growth of farmers markets provides an opportunity for someone to step in and fill that void. There are organizations that can give you ideas about how to access vacant city land so that you can, with your neighbors, start a community garden. There are trainings and resources to get you the building materials that you need to help you build your raised beds and things. And it may be as easy as being a person who steps in where there may be already a number of community gardens and saying, I will set up the farm stand.
Right, right. Now, you know what's really interesting, Gerard, is with respect to that industry, that green technology industry, whether it's be contractors building green technology facilities or growing plants and food, is that that's what Brooklyn originally was historically. It was the breadbasket for all of Manhattan. It wasn't until the turn of the century that New York and Brooklyn itself became a bedroom community. Prior to that, there were all the farms and the farmlands were in Brooklyn and in Queens. So it's not an accident, that we come back to this technology. It's kind of like history repeating itself. And even in the community of Weeksville, you've heard of Weeksville. Built in Brooklyn in 1838. And here's what's really significant. Weeksville was established as a community for the purpose of giving African Americans a chance to buy and build property. That's exactly what it was for. And we've kind of forgotten that history. So we need to come back to that and then steer people collectively to the roots of their history in Brooklyn, the Caribbean community that has found a lot of home here, and the fact that in this last election, Brooklyn
is the power seat of New York City. And it's about to have some serious development. So we're going to come back to that. I want to talk more about how we get that business on its feet, Gerard. But I got to take a break. So, folks, you're listening to the BCS Experience, and we got some information for you today. We're coming to you live and in living color from the studios of the BW Moving Images on the GoPro Radio Network. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
You want to know the truth, folks? Do you really want to know the truth? Well, perhaps you can't handle the truth. But if you can listen to GoPro Radio. Tune in at www.goproradio.com. Now have I made myself clear? GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head. I know I do.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
All right, we're back. I'm Byron C. Saunders, your host with the most on the BCS Experience. And listen up, folks. You know, we're listener-sponsored radio, and it is up to you to help us sustain and stay on the air. I need your support, your dollars. And what that means is that when you go to our website, that's www.goproradionetwork, and you see that box that says donate, this is what you need to do, folks. Click on that box. Then determine the amount that you'd like to donate and help support. Show the GoPro Radio Network some love. We're showing you lots of love with a great lineup of talk show and talk show hosts, the best and the fastest growing network in the universe. But we need your support in order to sustain. And if you really like me, show me lots of love when you make that donation. Let them know that you're sending up the love to the BCS Experience. And I personally thank you very much for all my support and loyal fans, as I've got a lot of folks who are tuned in and listening to the BCS Experience. Okay, we're back with Gerard Miller from the Neighborhood Housing Services in New York City, NHS. Now, Gerard, we got our little business and we're coming to you for incubation. What does that mean, coming to your workshops and seminars? And what can I expect to get when I come to your services?
Well, it's going to be threefold. One, as I said, we have the financial literacy class, because the first thing, if you're going to start a business, is you need to understand the way the money works.
Right.
You need to understand how the financial industry works, because sooner or later you're going to be dealing with a bank, whether that's in order to get a business loan or in order to open up a business account. You need to understand the tax system. You need to understand credit. You need to understand how to budget. And so our class does that for you, as well as helping you to really line out your financial goals and build a strategy to meet that. We also offer one-on-one financial counseling.
Right.
We look at your income right now, if you already have a business, or if you are in the process of starting one and you're working for someone else right now. We'll look at your current income, your credit, and your assets to let you know what kind of position you are in to be able to move forward on such a large investment. And we do a pull of your credit, because again, if you're dealing with looking for startup capital, the people who will be providing you that and investing in you want to know how solvent you have been in what I call the business of you, the business of the individual.
Right.
So if you haven't been good about your money as an individual, an investor is less likely to be confident about you as a business person.
I guess so, yeah.
The third thing is, as I said, the working group, which is really going to be about putting our heads together and brainstorming as entrepreneurs, telling what worked for you and what did not, so to help others avoid the pitfalls. You know, the Sankofa principle, reach back to move forward. So if we can learn from the past, if we can learn from those people who are successful, vibrant, long-term business owners, and maybe even from those who tried something and it failed. Why did those who succeeded do well, and why did those who failed do poorly? And then to share any resources. One of the resources that I actually want to mention is the federal government's Small Business Administration.
SBA, yes.
SBA. They have an online suite of courses
Right.
for starting your business. They run, I'm reading the list now, they run the gamut from starting a business to business management to financing, marketing and advertising. They have informational webinars. They have business planning tools. They have information on attaining government contracts. They have things about risk management and cybersecurity, e-commerce and building your own website. They have federal tax training. They have small business retirement information and information about international trade. All of this is free because you have already paid for it with your federal tax dollars.
Exactly. Now, with the government shut down, and I hear there's a deal on the table this very moment that sometime around dinner time or right after dinner, we're going to get an interruption into our favorite TV show, and they're going to let us know that they have a deal. Up until this point, they have been closed down. Okay, so it's not that the government doesn't want to help you with your business. We just got to move some of those folks out of their office who have really made some bad choices about shutting the government down.
The good thing about this
Yes.
is these are online
That's
classes,
right.
pre-recorded. The information is already there.
It's already there. That's right. So Gerard,
government websites,
yes.
No matter which website it is, HUD, SBA, anywhere you go, the information is there. The individual in the office
is not there. Exactly. But once you get into the system, here's something to remember, folks. There are loans available for minority and women-owned businesses. Make no mistake about it. There's set-aside programs that even with city and state and federal contracts, a percentage of that money that goes to public works operations and buildings have and must hire women and minority-owned businesses. That means us. So we need to take advantage of that, folks, and understand what does that really mean, because you can perhaps be a contractor for the city, for the Board of Education, for the state, for the federal government. But you don't know this information unless you go to an organization like the Neighborhood Housing Services of New York City, which is there to empower you and help you make your business a success. So Gerard, let's talk about how important is it to have a business plan?
There is no more important thing. You can have the best product.
Yes.
You can have literally the cure for cancer. But if you don't have a way to market it, to grow it wisely, if you haven't budgeted properly, if you haven't thought about everything that you can conceive of that could go right and go wrong with that business, and you can't then present that idea to others, whether they're customers, potential investors, potential partners, then there's a no-go.
That's right.
The business plan is seminal.
It's
the first thing you need to do. And that's where those questions come to where I said before.
Right.
Why do you want to go into business? What do you want to do? Who is going to take advantage of that service? And how have you structured yourself to move forward?
And you know what, Gerard, was really amazing to me, whether you want to go into a not-for-profit or a for-profit industry, you still, ladies and gentlemen, you must have a business plan. And I can't tell you how many people think that that's not essential. And it's so easy. Microsoft has a download, a free download of a business plan for which, if you just answer the questions, 90% of what you need to know about your own particular business will be on paper.
That's right. And every city and state finance or commerce department
Yes.
has something as well.
That's
For
right.
instance, in the city of New York, they have a business development tool which will do the same thing, and they will even tell you the kinds of permits that you need based on the business that you want to start up.
Exactly. Now, the difference. Let's walk this individual even more through the process, because once you have your business plan, that's your Bible, folks. That is the piece that will, there's your piece de resistance that will allow you to understand, and for anyone else that you, like you say, wanting to get investors to help you and assist your business, because when they ask you for that business plan, folks, if you don't have it, I can guarantee you 99.9% of the time they're going to reject you. But here's something else that you may not consider, because once you got the business plan, let's talk about what is the difference between a business plan and a strategic initiative.
A business plan is who you are.
Yes.
A business plan is what you do.
Yes.
A strategic, what did you call it, initiative?
A strategic,
is how
yes,
you do it.
is how you do it. That's right. The ABCs, because when you open the door and you come into that facility that day, this is where you open the manual that says, on today, it's Monday, I call up my my vendors because I need stock. On Tuesday.
Sometimes they call it an executive summary.
That's right, an executive summary. But it's so important, folks, because it is a difference between that and your business plan. You need to know how you're going to operate. If your business is open 6 days a week, you better have an initiative or an executive summary for every single day you walk into that facility.
That's right. One thing that a lot of people don't think about, and this is to go back to the permitting issue.
Yes.
If once you have your business plan written, I would say the first thing to do would be to secure your name.
Yes.
Because
Copyright.
Business,
that's right.
Your name is your brand.
There
if
it
you don't
is.
know who you are, or you can't hold on to that name, then you have no brand loyalty at all.
That's right.
And it's as easy as an internet search for that business. If that business name does not come up, and you can go then to the Treasury Department website. They'll do a lookup, a background check, and you can get what is called a federal employer identification number,
or FEI.
FEIN.
That's it, FEIN. That's right. That's right.
You get your employer identification number, and that locks in that name as belonging to you. And you'll also get a new tax code. It's like a social security number for your business.
That's exactly right.
And once you have that, then you can go ahead and apply for all of the state and local permits. And it's a way of solidifying your business as an entity.
That's correct.
Because an idea is beautiful until you make it concrete.
So, Gerard, where are you located? Man, now that I've got all this great information, I need to know, how do I get to you?
Our office is located at 1012-1012 Gates Avenue in Brooklyn, New York, between Broadway and Ralph. We're in the northern part of Bedford-Stuyvesant. Our website is www.nhsnyc.org, and our phone number here is 718-919-2100.
All right, that's great. Now, I'll have to take a break in a minute, but when we come back, Gerard, I'm going to give you one last piece of history that I know you already know about, because this man has been great. But I also want to be able to make sure they know, our listeners know, when you're going to have your next seminar, because I know you have a scheduled events where we can get people to come and register and learn how to create and make a successful business. All right, so don't go away. You're listening to the BCS Experience on the GoPro Radio Network, coming to you live and in living color from the chocolate studios of the BW Moving Images. We'll be right back.
You're listening to content developed by the GoPro Radio Network, the fastest growing network in the galaxy. GoPro Radio Network. Listen to the voices in your head.
All right, I'm back. See, that was short and sweet. Well, a little piece of history so we can connect the final dots to today's exciting show. The date, it's Monday. It's October the 16th, and the year is 1922. The Reverend Leon H. Sullivan was born on this date in 1922. He was an African American minister, businessman, educator, and founder of a nonprofit organization to create more jobs for blacks. Sullivan was born in West Virginia, the son of an elevator operator and a movie theater janitor, and grew up in an impoverished and segregated community. As a child, he helped support himself by collecting and reselling discarded bottles. Among the many indignities of being black in early 20th century America was having to walk on the colored side of the street to deliver laundry to his grandmother's customers. Sullivan said the defining moment of his life came when he was 8 years old as he tried to buy a soda at a white lunch counter. Sullivan recalled the clerk said to him, "Stand on your feet, black boy. You can't sit down here." It was then I decided I was going to stand against the kind of thing for me, that kind of thing for me for the rest of my life. At the age of 17, he was ordained a Baptist minister, and after finishing high school, he went on to graduate from West Virginia State College with the help of a football scholarship and a part-time job at night in a local steel mill. After graduating in 1943, Sullivan served as pastor of Zion Baptist Church in Philadelphia. He increased the church's membership to 6,000 and became known as the Lion from Zion. It was in Philadelphia that Sullivan began his mission to create more jobs for minorities. He organized pastors for more than 400 black churches and implemented a strategy called selective patronage, meaning don't buy where you don't work. It was through these boycotts that businesses were forced to hire more minorities. Sullivan discovered, however, that many minorities were unprepared for jobs. This encouraged him to found the Opportunities Industrialization Centers, Inc. of America, better known as OICA, which operates through a national network of local affiliated organizations. OICA has 60 affiliates in 30 states across the country and the District of Columbia, and 33 centers in 18 different countries. OICA provides realistic training for black Americans, and in 1971, Sullivan became the first African American to serve on the board of a major U.S. corporation. We all know General Motors. In 1975, he was described as the most hated man in South Africa due to his efforts to end apartheid in that country. Sullivan created the African American Summit to form a stronger bond between the two continents and established the International Foundation for Education and Self-Help, which trains teachers and oversees the building of schools in Africa. In 1992, Sullivan was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and he also received the Eleanor Roosevelt Human Rights Award in 1999. He was a 33rd degree Prince Hall Mason, a Shriner, and a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. Leon Sullivan died in Scottsdale, Arizona, April 25th, 2001. All right, Gerard, I got another caller on the line. Let's bring him on in. Good evening. Welcome to the BCS Experience. And who might you be?
Tam E. Hunt.
Tam E. Hunt. All right, now, Tam E. is in Baltimore. And Gerard, Tammy's an entrepreneur, businesswoman, singer, fabulous singer who does Billie Holiday's work. Now, Tammy, do you have a question for Gerard? Go ahead.
Talk about entrepreneurialism, and having your own, owning your own, standing on your own. I am in a position where I can influence youth in Baltimore, and I'm doing an empowerment event that I'm asking people in this area, or even as far as New York or wherever, if they would participate, because they need to hear what entrepreneurialism really is, and it's not selling drugs on the corner.
That's right.
And I would say you have two avenues that you can go. You can go to the graveyard, or you can go to the jail,
Right.
even though you're making this perfectly clean.
Yes, yes. So your business is kicking off an event in Baltimore, and when is that going to be,
Yes.
Tabby?
We produce the events to empower the neighborhood. It's a community empowerment event.
Yes.
And one of those things is about being an entrepreneur and how to be an entrepreneur and exchanging illicit behaviors of sales for legitimate sales and getting vendor's license and things like that. So I'm just seeking people to speak to these young people.
I'm
Oh.
sorry, Ms. Hunt. When do you guys have this meeting?
The event will be on Saturday, November 2nd.
Okay. Now listen.
I'm
Yes.
actually from Baltimore.
Oh my goodness.
I'm from Park Heights.
Okay.
And,
You know what I'm talking about.
and all of my family is down there, and I have some connections that if you give us the information, I can definitely spread the word.
Well, that would be fantastic. I can send something to Mr. Saunders,
That would be
and he can forward it to you if that would make it easier. And I'll have all my information intact there.
All right, Tammy.
Have you ever heard of Malika Tamil Cooper?
I have. Yes, I have.
She runs Happy Day, Poets in the Park,
Yes.
Pan African Day of Solidarity, Beats, Braids, and Fades. I think this would be a wonderful thing to get her motivated on because she has a wide reach.
Okay, now Tammy.
Well,
Tammy, here's Gerard's phone number. It's Gerard Miller. And his phone number at the Neighborhood Housing Services of New York City is 718 919 2100. 718 919 2100. And the website is www.nhsnyc.org. So you guys can connect. And this is what we got to do, folks. We can sustain. In fact, Gerard, I read recently that our combined wealth in the black community is somewhere closer to about $3 trillion. So we have the money, folks, and we don't need to be depending upon all the corporate sponsorships. We need it, of course we need it, but can we do it ourselves? The answer is yes. We have it.
7 Black Wall Streets at one point.
That's right. And Auburn Avenue, which I told you about today, was one of them. We had Tulsa, Oklahoma, okay? Black Wall Street, where we were oil barons and baronesses, okay? We have Madam C.J. Walker, the first African-American woman millionaire in this country, hair care products. So we got stuff, folks. We just have to become a little bit more conscious of where we're spending our money and how we keep it in our community. That's what this is all about.
If I may add, Dr. John Hendrick Clark said that we are our own salvation, that we can support ourselves without any outside influence. We can make our own pens, we can grow our own food, we can make our own clothes, we can manufacture whatever it is that we need if we would unify the dollar. Now, I paraphrase, of course, but that is what I've extracted out of his teaching.
All right, well, listen, folks, I got to wrap this up. I got about 2.5 minutes left, so I hate to cut this short. Well, I got about 6 minutes. So go ahead, Tammy. I'm going to let you finish that thought. Then I got to wrap it up. Okay. You were saying.
Is that our independence depends upon us as a nation.
Yes.
As a nation. And, you know, it sounds cliche, but unity, solidarity, and without that, nothing can happen.
That's right. So, Gerard, let's bring it home. Yes. But let's wrap it. Gerard, you get to have the last say-so on today's show because we're focusing and featuring your organization. But you see, we have an opportunity to connect you with another city. We're going to do this, folks, even if it takes one city at a time, one person at a time. But this is why the GoPro Radio Network is one of the fastest growing networks in this country, because we're global. We are a global community. And let us not forget that we are the majority. So go ahead, Gerard. Tell us one more time, how do we get a hold of your organization, and when is that next seminar for the business entrepreneurship?
NHS of Bedford-Stuyvesant is located at 1012 Gates Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11212. Our phone number is 718-919-2100. Our next program and service orientation will be the first Wednesday in November, which is November 6th, from 6 to 8 p.m.
All right. And the phone number?
718-919-2100.
And your website?
NHSNYC.org. Neighborhood Housing Services, New York City.org.
All right, folks. Tammy, Gerard, I want to thank you both for participating and being a part of the BCS experience. This is some very good information that we're giving tonight, folks. Information that's going to sustain our communities. And see, we do stand on the shoulders of heroes and sheroes that you may not know in school. But it's my job as captain on this Underground Railroad to make sure we give you the right information, give you the information and the history of some of the folks who have made it possible for both Gerard Miller and Tammy Hunt and many, many more who are out there as business entrepreneurs. You can learn it, you can earn it, and you can take it to the bank and deposit it. So let's do that and continue to sustain our organizations and our communities. Well, hey, this has been great. This is the BCS Experience on the GoProRadio.com, your social network's live talk show, produced and sponsored by BW Moving Images. Tylon U. Xavier, Washington, producer. Ayanna L. Jones, Executive Director. Shauna L. Glover, Online Engineer, with production assistance provided by Mohammed El Safti, Nina Markal, Tatiana Washington, and Tayana Washington. And, of course, a very special thank you to the Jazz Lounge Project and Julian Myers for my fabulous show's theme music. Well, your support of BW Moving Images is important to us, and there is a wonderful documentary that my producer, Tylon U. Xavier Washington, made and is available for purchase. Right now, go online to disappearingvoices.com and get your purchase of your documentary. Put it into your library. It is so important. It's talking about how Black history is trying to stay alive. Black radio is trying to stay alive. DisappearingVoices.com. It's only $19.99. Tell them you heard it on the BCS Experience. We'll get it autographed for you. Okay. All right. Tune in next Wednesday when my show, the BCS Experience, History, Arts, Culture, Politics, and Review and Discussion, will be on from 5 to 6 p.m. Coming up next is Black Agenda TV Express from 6 to 6:30 and featuring Glenn Ford, Ayanna Jones, and Bruce Dixon, followed by my dear friend, happy birthday to you from last week, Kay Thompson Live, with your hostess, Kay Thompson, from 8 to 9 p.m. Then, stay tuned in from 9 to 10 p.m. when our hot off the stove show, Food Rap, with Shauna L. Glover and Nina Markal, will be cooking for your pleasure and taste, all on the GoPro Radio Network. Hey, I'm Byron C. Saunders, and it's been all about the BCS Experience. Join me next Wednesday when my very special guest will be you, my listening audience, with another opportunity to appreciate our rich cultural history and learn how it impacts on our lives today. Until then, I'm out of here. For the moment, peace and love always.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.